In traditional education settings, the Middle Ages are frequently simplified to a handful of significant events and individuals. However, this video seeks to delve deeper into this historical era, shedding light on 10 distinctive medieval traditions that are often overlooked in contemporary curricula. By examining these peculiar practices, we gain a more comprehensive understanding of life during that period. Each of these traditions serves as a unique perspective through which we can gain valuable insights into a world that, despite its differences, bears some striking similarities to our own. Number 1. Trial by ordeal. This was a legal practice in medieval Europe that may appear incredibly strange, if not outright bizarre, by today's standards. At its core, trial by ordeal was based on the belief that divine intervention would determine the guilt or innocence of the accused. Essentially, it was a form of justice where the ultimate decision rested in the hands of God, as believed by medieval society. In its various forms, trial by ordeal required the accused to undertake physically dangerous or painful tasks. If the individual emerged unharmed or healed quickly, they were deemed innocent. Conversely, failure or injury was interpreted as a sign of guilt. Among the most famous types of ordeals were the ordeal by fire and the ordeal by water. In the former, the accused had to carry a red-hot iron bar for a specific distance or retrieve a stone from boiling water. Their hands were then bandaged, and if the wounds healed cleanly within a set period, typically 3 days, they were declared innocent. In the latter, the accused was bound and thrown into a body of water. Floating indicated guilt, while sinking signified innocence. Trial by ordeal wasn't just a curious medieval practice. It was a complex social institution that embodied the intricate interplay of faith, justice, and community during that era. As legal systems evolved and the Enlightenment era ushered in new ideas, trial by ordeal became obsolete. Nevertheless, it remains a captivating window into the medieval mindset, offering insights into their complex beliefs about morality, divinity, and human agency. Number 2. Alchemy in everyday life. Alchemy, often seen as the precursor to modern chemistry, is typically associated with mysticism and the arcane, conjuring images of cloaked figures hunched over intricate apparatus, striving to transmute base metals into gold or create the elixir of life. What is less commonly known is the deep integration of alchemy into the daily routines of the medieval period. Beyond these grand pursuits, at its essence, alchemy was the study of transformation, encompassing not only substances but also the human soul and the universe. In medieval society, alchemists were the equivalent of today's pharmacists, metallurgists, and occasionally even chefs. Their work had tangible applications that touched various aspects of daily life. For example, the preparation of medicinal remedies was predominantly undertaken by alchemists. From crafting salves and ointments to formulating potions to treat a wide range of illnesses, alchemy played a vital role in medieval healthcare. The herbs and minerals they collected served not only esoteric rituals but also practical healing purposes. While alchemy might seem mystical or misguided through the lens of modern understanding, it was an eminently practical and deeply interwoven facet of daily life during the medieval era. Alchemists were not reclusive figures veiled in secrecy. They were integral to their communities, offering indispensable services and spiritual insights. Their work constituted a fusion of science, art, and spirituality that enriched every aspect of medieval existence, revealing a far more intricate tapestry than stereotypes often convey. Number 3. Medieval guilds and secret handshakes. Medieval guilds are often seen as early versions of modern trade unions or professional associations, but their influence and significance in medieval society were notably more intricate and extensive. These guilds were not solely economic entities. They were deeply ingrained in the social and even spiritual fabric of the time, exerting their influence over craftsmanship, trade, politics, and education. In addition to their formal regulations, guilds also embraced secret rituals, including distinctive handshakes and symbols that reinforced their exclusivity and impact. A guild represented more than just a professional organization. It embodied a sense of brotherhood. Its members adhered to stringent codes of conduct and craftsmanship, elevating their trade to a nearly sacred calling. Apprentices often underwent intensive training under the guidance of a master craftsman, progressing from apprenticeship to journeyman and ultimately becoming masters themselves. This process not only ensured a high standard of quality but also established a system of mentorship that encompassed moral and social guidance alongside the acquisition of trade skills. The interconnectedness of economic, political, and spiritual aspects within guilds has led some historians to draw parallels with secret societies. Although they weren't necessarily covert organizations, the esoteric rituals and the substantial influence they held over various facets of medieval life make guilds a unique historical phenomenon that defies easy classification. Through their multifaceted roles, guilds left a profound mark on the medieval world that extended beyond the realm of crafting goods or trading commodities. They laid the foundation for what we now consider a professional class, shaping modern conceptions of vocation and craftsmanship, all while serving as intricate social entities with objectives that transcended mere economic gain. Number 4. Jesters and Fools. Beyond their role as sources of entertainment, jesters and fools are often portrayed as the comedic relief in the medieval courts of Europe, with their colorful attire, jingling bells, and antics seemingly crafted solely for the amusement of the nobility. However, their function was far more intricate and vital than that of mere entertainers. These were unique individuals who maneuvered through a complex social landscape, offering not just humor but also critique and insight, often concealed within satire and parody. One of the most captivating aspects of the medieval jester was their license to speak truth to power, shielded by the guise of the fool. Jesters could utter statements that would be deemed seditious or even blasphemous if voiced by others. They had the liberty to mock, satirize, and question the decisions and actions of rulers, frequently serving as a voice for public opinion or acting as a release valve for societal tensions. This candid critique, shrouded in humor, provided rulers with perspectives that they might not receive from their more cautious advisors. Thus, jesters and fools transcended their roles as mere entertainers. They became social commentators, critics, communicators, and sometimes even spiritual figures, navigating intricate webs of power, privilege, and taboo. Disguised in folly, they held up a mirror to the society they inhabited, highlighting its contradictions and absurdities in a manner that rendered them invaluable to both rulers and the populace. Their role serves as a compelling illustration of how humor and satire have functioned as instruments of social commentary and critique throughout history. Number 5. Ducking Stool. Often relegated to the shadows of medieval European history and commonly associated with the punishment of witches or unruly women, this device, featuring a chair suspended on a long wooden arm, often positioned near a pond or river, possessed a significance that extended beyond mere humiliation or torment. It functioned as an instrument of social control, a public spectacle, and a cautionary rite that unveiled intricate attitudes toward justice, gender roles, and communal standards in medieval society. The ducking stool, designed for public humiliation, was not meant to be lethal, but its psychological and social consequences were profound. Its primary targets were women accused of being scolds or nagging wives, but it was also employed against men and women accused of dishonest trading and petty crimes. The punishment encompassed both physical and symbolic aspects. The accused would be securely fastened into the chair and repeatedly submerged in water while crowds assembled to witness, taunt, or even participate by throwing objects. This public display aimed to enforce social norms and assert the collective will of the community. Interestingly, the ducking stool was intertwined with a complex theology of water. In Christian symbolism, water held dual meanings. It served as a purifying element in baptism and symbolized chaos and peril, as evident in the biblical flood. Dunking an individual could be interpreted as a form of exorcism or purification, expelling the sin or disorder they were perceived to have brought into the community. Consequently, the ducking stool transcended being a mere crude instrument of punishment. It represented a multi-layered social, political, and religious act. It functioned to affirm community norms, reinforce authority, and provide a cathartic, albeit unsettling, form of public entertainment. While the ethics of such a device are deeply questionable from a modern standpoint, comprehending its complexity offers a nuanced perspective on medieval concepts of justice, social cohesion, and gender roles. Number 6. Wandering minstrels. These wandering minstrels are often romanticized in medieval tales, portrayed as free-spirited musicians who traveled the countryside, captivating lords and ladies, peasants and priests with their songs and stories. However, the reality of their role was much more multifaceted. These itinerant performers were not merely entertainers. They served as conveyors of news, social commentators, and even political activists in their time. By bridging gaps between different classes, regions, and cultures, the songs of wandering minstrels carried more than just melodies. They were repositories of social memory and oral history. These minstrels sang of great battles and legendary heroes, but they also delved into themes of love, loss, and the experiences of everyday life. These songs weren't solely for entertainment. They acted as a means of preserving communal histories and traditions, particularly in a society where literacy was a privilege afforded to only a few. The minstrels themselves, through their travels and performances, played a pivotal role in disseminating these stories, acting as one of the primary channels of information in their era. Consequently, wandering minstrels were an indispensable component of the social fabric of medieval Europe. Far from being mere entertainers, they were multifaceted individuals who served as narrators of communal stories, commentators on social issues, and facilitators of cultural exchange. Their role underscores the intricate ways in which art, politics, and community intersected in the medieval world, unveiling the era as a dynamic and interconnected tapestry of human experience. Number 7. Scold's Bridle. This unsettling artifact from medieval Europe serves as a symbol of the era's intricate attitudes regarding freedom of speech, gender roles, and public punishment. This iron muzzle was designed to be worn over a woman's head, featuring a bridle bit that could be inserted into her mouth to prevent her from speaking. The primary targets were often women deemed as scolds or nagging wives, but the device was also employed as a means of punishment for gossiping, blasphemy, and even accusations of witchcraft. This punitive tool did more than just silence the accused, it subjected them to public shame. They were paraded through town, sometimes led by a chain held by their husbands or local authorities, with the entire community witnessing their humiliation. The Scold's bridle extended beyond a mere instrument of physical restraint. It represented a symbol of social control, particularly over women who dared to challenge the rigid gender norms of their era. The Scold's bridle serves as a cautionary tale from history, serving as a stark reminder of the mechanisms employed to silence and marginalize those perceived as disruptors of the social order. While the actual device has long been relegated to museums and history books, the questions it raises about gender, power, and the boundaries of free speech remain profoundly relevant in contemporary discussions. Number 8. Heretic's Fork. This disturbing device exemplifies the extreme measures that medieval authorities would employ to enforce ideological conformity. It consisted of a two-pronged fork attached to a collar, positioned in such a way that the victim could neither lower their head nor lie down without enduring excruciating pain. Primarily employed by the Inquisition against individuals accused of heresy, the heretic's fork represented the suffocating restrictions imposed on free thought and religious expression during that period. Beyond being a tool for physical torment, the fork functioned as a psychological weapon, designed to erode the victim's resolve and compel confessions. This gruesome device was often used in conjunction with other forms of torture and public humiliation, aiming not only to punish the individual but also to serve as a deterrent to others who might entertain heretical ideas. Significantly, the use of such instruments was typically endorsed by both religious and civil authorities, reflecting a society where the church and the state were closely intertwined. While the heretic's fork is now a relic of the past, it serves as a solemn reminder of the perils associated with suppressing free thought and the lengths to which authoritarian regimes will go to maintain ideological control. The themes it encapsulates, freedom of belief, the ethics of torture, and the relationship between authority and individual conscience, remain as pertinent today as they were in the medieval world. Number 9. Wife selling. This obscure and often misunderstood practice from medieval and early modern Europe offers insight into the intricacies of marital relationships and gender roles during that era. Contrary to common misconceptions, wife selling was not a legally recognized form of divorce but rather a public and ritualized act of humiliation, often carried out with the wife's consent, symbolizing the termination of a marriage. Typically, it involved a public auction where the wife would be led to a market with a halter around her neck and sold to the highest bidder. The ritual was less about the actual exchange of money and more about the public severance of marital ties. Frequently, the auction was a formality pre-arranged by all parties involved, including the wife. In some cases, it represented a desperate act by impoverished couples who saw it as their only means of separating and starting anew. While it might be easy to dismiss wife selling as a barbaric or chauvinistic custom, it was, in reality, a multifaceted social practice that evolved in response to the limitations of medieval divorce laws, which were often biased and rigid, leaving couples with few alternatives for separation. This practice underscores the constraints women faced concerning personal freedom and economic agency while also highlighting the creative, though problematic, strategies people employed to navigate an oppressive system. The phenomenon of wife selling provides a disconcerting yet illuminating glimpse into the personal lives and social customs of our ancestors. It emphasizes the intricacies of marital relationships, the constraints imposed by social and legal structures, and the lengths to which individuals went to seek some semblance of autonomy in an often unforgiving world. Number 10. Trial by combat. While it may seem like a fantastical element of medieval stories, it was indeed a very real and deeply ingrained component of the legal system in medieval Europe. The fundamental belief underpinning this practice was that God would intervene and ensure that the just party emerged victorious. In a trial by combat, both the accuser and the accused would engage in a physical duel, often armed with weapons appropriate to their social status. The outcome was regarded as a divine verdict. The victor was considered to be in the right, while the defeated party was deemed guilty. This system of justice extended beyond personal disputes and could be invoked in cases of serious crimes, with champions representing either the accused or the accuser. While trial by combat might appear as a primitive or even brutal method of adjudication, it was deeply rooted in medieval concepts of justice and divine intervention. It was not merely a spectacle but a solemn, ritualized form of legal procedure. Over time, as legal systems evolved and the Enlightenment introduced new ideas about justice and reason, trial by combat gradually fell out of favor and was abolished in most European countries. However, the legacy of this practice endures in modern legal systems and the enduring idea of justice as a struggle between opposing forces. It serves as a stark reminder of the intricate relationship between religion, law, and societal norms in the medieval world. In summary, these 10 medieval traditions and practices provide a window into the intricate fabric of life during that period. Rather than depicting a static or uniform society, medieval times were marked by dynamism, diversity, and frequently, unexpected customs and beliefs. Each of these practices, ranging from trial by ordeal to trial by combat, from wife selling to Scold's bridal, illuminates the intricate interplay between religion, social conventions, power structures, and human ingenuity that defined the medieval world. Delving into these traditions not only enhances our comprehension of history but also underscores the enduring relevance of certain issues in our contemporary world.